Hello and welcome to this digital camera magazine video tutorial. Today we're going to show you how to take control of colour. Now what we're going to do is to show you the process of developing a raw image, and basically our final result should look something along these lines. Now, as well as the raw process, we're also going to do a little bit of work in Photoshop just to draw out some of the shadows and highlights, and we can definitely see that here basically in the movement of the water and also in the rock in the foreground. We've just used a little bit of dodge just to bring out a bit more of that detail. Okay, so let's get started and open up our raw image in ACR, Adobe Camera Raw, and we can do that just by going up to File, Open, selecting our file, clicking Open, and then that raw file should automatically open up in ACR. And so that we've got a nice large working environment to start from, what we're going to do is maximize the size of our window. And we can do that just by clicking on the right hand side. There's a toggle full screen mode. Left click that once and that'll open up, so we're now covering the full workspace. So it's a lot easier to work and actually find out exactly how the image is looking. To that end, just make sure that you've got the preview button at the top right also ticked, and then we can see as we make our adjustments the effect that they have on our final image. Now as we go along, one of the most important things to keep an eye on is over here at the top right we've got our histogram, and that shows us all of the tonal and colour information within our image. And here we can see our red, our green and our blue channels, and as we make adjustments to the image we'll see those shift around. And what we're looking for is a nice full histogram that basically covers the whole horizontal line of the histogram here. Now as we make adjustments to the histogram or to the sliders, we should see the histogram change. So very quickly I'll just grab the exposure slider, move that over to the right, and you can suddenly see the histogram flattens down, the image lightens up, and as I drag it over to the left you'll see all of the information of the histogram move over to the left. So we can now see that this is basically our shadow areas, and over here on the right hand side that's our highlight areas. So just to make sure we know exactly whether or not we're actually clipping any highlights or any shadows, we're going to switch on our clipping warnings. So we can do that by either left clicking on these two buttons at the top, and then as we move our exposure left or right we'll see either blue or red, and the shortcut for that is just U for your shadows and O for your highlights. Now the top section of this set of tools basically enables you to adjust the temperature. So as you move the temperature up, you'll warm up the image. As you move the temperature down, you'll cool it down. And below that we have a tint, which basically works a similar way to hue saturation, and all sorts of funny colour hues will actually affect the image. Now below that are our most important set of tools, and these enable us to change the exposure, recover highlights, recover shadows, and basically adjust our contrast and our actual saturation. So as we adjust these, we always want to keep an eye on their effect over the histogram. And once we've got a nice even histogram and our preview looks good, we know that we can move on to the next stage. So in this tutorial we'll be mainly working in the basic screen, but we'll also take a look at the tone curves and also at the HSL grayscale tab at the saturation, just to boost a few of the colours within the sky. If you're using Photoshop Elements, you'll be able to follow us for most of the way using the basic tab, but when it comes to adjusting the tone curve and also the HSL grayscale, you'll need to have a look at doing those within Photoshop Elements itself. Okay, I'll leave you just to familiarise yourself with the raw window, and I'll join you in the next part where we start to sort out the image and make our adjustments.